to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. This is the third edition ever, the legacy third edition of Breaking News. We have important things to talk about in the world of Thor. There is a new Thor #1 on the horizon. Yes, we know what's going to happen, kinda, after Immortal Thor 25 in a few months. We have a plan. We're not going to have to sit for months and months not knowing. We know there's another issue coming, and we're going to talk about it with honestly, the best freaking co-hosts, the best friends in all of the realms.
Take that, Will Rose.
God, that went in a direction I was not anticipating. Faz is here. Eric is here. We have lots of exciting news to talk about with this new Thor #1 announcement, and we're going to review a few comics where Thor showed up, and we got a lot of like little tidbits to talk about. So, Eric, first impressions. We have a Thor #1 coming, and this is exciting news, right?
Oh my God, just a massive sigh of relief from me, because I didn't know if we were gonna have a 6-month waiting period or a little bit of a downtime. And so I was just hitting refresh on my Google search for Marvel August 25 solicitations, trying to get some news, trying to find out when this was going to happen. Faz and I think saw it on Instagram at the exact same time.
Yeah. Again, only because we can see through time, listeners. Check out our deific duo's journey into mystery. And then you'll be able to see it like us. Yeah.
Yeah. So we even got a teaser cover with part of it shaded out. So we know I can sleep better at night knowing that in August we're going to have some more Thor coming that we're not done just yet.
Baz, how do you feel about this announcement of a new Thor #1 coming in August?
Boys, I'm so excited. So firstly, shocked this didn't leak ahead of time like Immortal Thor did. Shocked that they got to do an official announcement, so good for them on that.
Awesome.
I'm so glad that the break is just early July to late August instead of like 6 months or something.
Yeah.
I also was very wary of what we'd be doing. I thought maybe we'd get an Immortal Magni series or something for like 12, and while that would be cool, this cool new direction it sounds like they're going, despite having no idea what it means, sounds cooler to me.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see what the hell Al Ewing is doing, guys. Thor will die for our sins in 2 issues, and then something will happen. He will rise again on the 3rd day.
See, here's where we really needed Will Rose here as our religious correspondent.
It's too late. You already told him you hate him compared to us. It's
I did not
he's
say
probably
that.
blocking you for a bit.
Oh my gosh. Will, I love you. I cannot wait till we are reunited in Minneapolis this fall. If you know, you know. Everybody, the guys have already mentioned this, that Al Ewing he came out with a statement on Marvel.com. This is what Al Ewing said. And so we are, in the course of this discussion about Thor #1, we are going to speculate wildly. We know what the article said. Like, that's it. Everything else is just us theorizing and throwing crap at the wall. And maybe, by halfway through this next run, we'll be like, we were kind of sort of right about that one little detail.
as a teaser, listeners, I am not going to wildly speculate this time because I am adopting Eric's pitch.
I am also adopting Eric's pitch. You know what?
Ryan and I are not speculating because the thing that he told us is so cool, and you'll get to it after we do a bit more legwork here, that I don't even want to try because my pitch is not going to compare to what Eric has in store.
Wow, no pressure.
I was say pressure is on, but after we share what Al Ewing said in this article, he said, since the very first issue of Immortal Thor, Thor has been facing the end of his tale, but that was only the end of Act 1. As the next chapter begins, Thor must face threats he has never faced from a place he's never been until now. Is he alive? Is he dead? Is he immortal? Or much, much more? You'll have to join us to find out. So, Eric, what part of this statement What?
First, Ryan, you got to read the thing that's actually inside the cover, right? Like the little solicitation.
Oh
Did you
yes,
read that already?
so
Yeah.
within the silhouette on the cover, thank you, Faz. It does say a legend walks among us,
And read the paragraph solicitation. Come on, this is all we have. We just have crumbs. Read it.
it's almost like you could have read it. The Norse myths tell of gods who walked the earth doing great deeds for the mortals who believed in them. But Asgard isn't real and never was. The gods never soared in our skies, never stood with our heroes, never fought for kindness or justice. It was all just a story. Nobody's coming to help us. But somewhere in the city, a man is waking up, a man with a hammer. Eric, if Faz will allow me, I will ask you, what part of this announcement stands out to you the most, like story-wise or things that we're hinting towards?
So it's, first of all, there are some statements here that are very unambiguous, right? It is saying that it was all just a story. It's saying that Asgard isn't real and never was. I mean, how do you interpret that? It's just laying it out there, and it's telling you. So we know that anything can happen because Loki's the god of stories, and so we could have rewritten all of reality for all we know. We have no idea.
Yeah.
So this could literally, and I think I'm using the term literally accurately there. It could literally be true that Asgard never existed and has never been, and that there are no gods in this soaring in the skies and doing miracles for us, and that it's up to us. We're on our own to make what we can with the earth. So I think it's fascinating, and it definitely is. Again, we're trying to read between the lines here because we have the language in the article. They say it's a major shift. Well, that would be a pretty major shift by not just killing Thor, but undoing all of Asgard, and that mythology just doesn't, it's not even real anymore.
Well, just to piggyback off what you said there, Eric, in this article, it promises that a major shift in Ewing's overall Thor narrative is coming. Like you said, Thor #1 sets up a captivating new status quo for the God of Thunder, unlike any in his 60-plus year history. Now, I would like to just point out here, I feel like that kind of announcement gets broken every time Marvel does an article about an event or a new run of like, this will be the
strongest thing ever. Now he's in a big Thor spaceship.
Earth-shattering, awesome, super colossal, whatever. And it's like, and it just ends up being like a cool event. Like, it doesn't actually shake the ground upon which Marvel lives on. Like, so I'm going to take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, but I do know Al Ewing is not afraid of taking big swings. Mm-hmm. So what that could be, I don't know yet. Faz, do you want to kind of point out a part of this that's your thing that stood out the most? And maybe we can convince Eric to share his theory with us.
I don't want to say anything until Eric says his theory.
Oh my gosh,
it makes me so happy. No, okay, fine. I love that the cover has Thor in the background with a bunch of regular people in front of it. I love the reimagining, not knowing what it means yet, but just the fact that Al will make a big swing. No way Al Ewing is just doing, he's Donald Blake now. There's no way. It's going to be the normal thing. He's going to do something crazy. Yeah. And the something crazy that I'm pretty sure he's going to do is what our very own Prince of Preparedness, using his own little piece of the Faz Force, is predicting what he thinks is going to happen.
I love how he's your good friend and you're just like, a little piece, not a lot, just a little bit.
Look, if I give him too much, I might not be omniphasient anymore. That's a problem.
By the way, everybody, on this cover of Thor #1, like Faz said, there are regular people walking around. He also prefers to call those people non-yacht owners.
Non-yacht owners. It's the everyman. It's everyday people.
Yes, go ahead.
This gets into where I think this could go. It's the nobody's coming to help us. And it's also, we know that Al Ewing loves to troll the trolls. So not
And
only
also, to be clear, listeners, like Ryan said, we have no insider info. This is just Eric wildly speculating in a way that we're all obsessed with.
Oh yeah, we are this out of our asses.
out of our asses, but as a premier Thor theorist or Thorist,
Yes.
let's take a look at the silhouette. So Marvel does this sometimes. Well, they will silhouette out. They'll cut out part of the cover. They did it in the Last Annihilation with Dormammu. They take it out because they have a separate preview image to not give away what's on the cover. Why would they do that? If it was just going to be Donald Blake, it would just be Donald Blake, right? Yeah. So what are they not showing us? We see the silhouette of a hammer. It looks like a guy carrying like a duffel bag. Yeah. He's just in like plain street clothes or maybe even boots. My mind immediately went to like construction worker, somebody that has like a sledgehammer. There's definitely a hammer there. It's not as big as Mjolnir, but it says, a man is waking up, a man with a hammer. So, okay, this person is going to be like our protagonist. Looking at the silhouette, we don't have flowing locks of golden hair. It looks like the person's hair could be a much shorter. It could be a different race from Donald Blake. This could be an African American hairstyle. That's what I think is so interesting here, and that goes into this idea that Thor's gone, and it's plugging into this idea of mortals who believe in doing great deeds. It's really putting, I think, the power back into the everyday person. And I think that I don't think the spirit of Thor is going to be like transferring between people. It might be, but I think that almost like if you believe strong enough, Tinkerbell comes back to life. I think if more people believe in miracles, or more people are showing that they are doing God's work or doing goodwill, that it's going to revitalize this power and enable Thor to be reborn as a story. Because if the story goes away, Thor goes away. So we have to rekindle the story somehow. This also, probably my favorite part of this also ties in with the Gaia plot line. So Thor could not convince Roxxon to stop polluting and greenhouse gassing and all that kind of stuff. Gaia was like, humans are not changing, the earth is doomed, and screw you all. If this idea of people doing great deeds and it shows that humanity can change, we might be able to change Gaia's mind collectively as, showing that the human spirit is heroic, that we can perform miracles for ourselves, and it's not just us relying on the gods. And I think that shows that we are worthy to not have the Utgard gods blow up the earth and start over. So,
Eric, is that you got it all out there? Because I think Faz wants to jump all over this one.
I'll finish by saying it could be an anthology of slice of life stories that 50% of Thor fans will aggressively hate, and that Al Ewing is going to just relish in and love that.
I think 100% of Ryan Dozes will love it.
Yes. That's the part that I'm most excited about, Eric. The idea of each issue triggering those fucking idiots.
Ruffling some feathers. It's a new status quo.
You mean Thor's not just a white Norse man? He can be whatever you want him to be, depending on the circumstances required. Anybody can be worthy if they're doing good and helping people. The whole mythos of Thor is that if they be worthy, they can have the power. And I think that your idea of it being an anthology from person to person, it doesn't matter their race, creed, or sex. It doesn't matter what they did before. There might even be some villains who can be worthy when they're doing something virtuous and good. Mm-hmm. That connects exactly to Immortal, where Thor himself made villains worthy. He made his best friends worthy. He made Loki worthy. And taking that to its logical conclusion, like you referenced Hercules, is brilliant. And I really, really, really hope that's what we do. And it's not just... It's a different white blonde guy, but it's not Siegfried, and it's not Donald. It's not any of them. It's a different guy named blonde Christopher Fazio, and he is now Thor's alter ego. Something like that would be fine, but not nearly as special as what you have given us as an option.
It's got to be a broader swath of humanity, and this idea of maybe highlighting, maybe not a true anthology, but if this idea, if this spark, if this belief catches on and it shows in different pockets of planet Earth, just all over the world, the ability of us to change and to almost like rise up against Gaia without even knowing that because it's really humans versus Gaia, and they don't even know that yet.
Yeah.
There's a lot at stake, and there's a sense of urgency, and there's no Thor. So it's up to us. And so I think that's going to be a big part of it. Now, whether they cut back and forth to B plots, showing Magni, showing Enchantress, scheming, I think that would help make this not feel like such a completely left turn. But I do think that there's not going to be a Thor for a good while. And
also, can you cut back if Asgard isn't real? And
I guess that's a good point.
And the gods never soared in our skies. Yeah,
it's retconning the whole thing. It's Asgard isn't real and never was. So you can't have a B plot.
The idea of a hard relaunch, the idea that Thor's story is done, all of the mythos we've had for 60 years is gone, and it's going to restart from scratch when at the end of this Thor run you get Thor back and he's ready to rewrite the whole story. Maybe he's a prince of Asgard again and Odin's back and everything is back as it originally was, with Al Ewing changes for the next artist or the next writer to keep rolling with, is mind-blowingly cool to me. Because while I love the canon and while I love all the stories that have been told, they are handicapped in that they can't retell certain stories because they've been done and they've been set in stone. And if this is Al's way of breaking the wheel, I'm using Al Ewingisms right now,
pesky wheel,
to give a truly free reign. And perhaps, like Al said recently, Immortal Thor is 50. I have ideas for over 100 now. If this is going to get to be Al Ewing picking the pieces of the continuity that he likes and weaving it into the new story past Thor 25 into, I don't know, the Mighty Thor #1 that comes in 2 years.
Jane.
I know that the continuity guys like Eric will die very deeply that has occurred. But I also think that the idea of being able to restart the character is so enticing with an artist or with a writer as talented as Al Ewing, that I'm all in if that's what he does. I'm Al in if that's what he does.
I'm Al in. Well, they're using the term rebirth. And so with that, it sort of reminds me more of Thor coming back at the start of Straczynski, where he is being reborn, and it's in some ways a completely fresh start. But it's not saying that none of that stuff happened, because this is a definitive point in the canon where things can be rewritten. Again, Loki's the god of stories, major reality warping powers. He's, actually almost like outside of comics altogether, up there with the one above all that can literally change things on a whim. And that's maybe what Loki's been apologizing for. Like, I'm sorry, your story's ending.
And it's also like it ties into our is Loki god of stories actually Utgard Loki altogether, because that gives him even more power over relaunching stories and retelling tales, right? Like we've already seen, and keen listeners will know, or at least you should know when you listen to the Deific Duo's Journey into Mystery Volume 2, Road to 800, that the original Utgard story that gets rewritten in Al's run has been rewritten from how it was in 272 originally.
Yeah.
So they have the ability to do this, like Eric said, to keep the continuity but make changes. So I guess my pitch, if I had to think of a different one, because Eric's is better and I want them to use that one, where they blow up the canon, they could have a new protagonist Thor that is not the Thor that we've seen before. Maybe he's different in some way. Maybe he's not a he. It could be anything like that ends this run with Thor being back, like Eric said, Alice Straczynski, where he knows what came before, but he's writing a new story. Asgard is reset, but it's not a Ragnarok wheel, but they're free from all of this stuff, free from the Utgard gods, free from the legendary stories they've been stuck in, to forge a new path with the benefit of knowing what happened. That would also intrigue me.
Honestly, guys, I think there's so much speculation here to chew on until August. I'm sure this will not be the only time that we dig into this. I have one thing, is I'm staring at the cover image right now. The silhouette is holding a hammer. To me, if you're gonna have a Thor book and Thor's not gonna be there, you at least gotta have Mjolnir there. Like, I feel like Mjolnir is going to be this thing where like Mjolnir is kind of like our stand-in for Thor in this run, where he falls from the sky, and it's almost like a sword in the stone thing, where those who are worthy are able to pick it up and do great deeds with it. And in that, kind of like feeding into Eric's theory, how they add to fighting back against Gaia, because Gaia's on this, is on this hell-bent, kind of course to destroy her own planet, Mother Earth. Guys, is there anything else about Thor #1 we need to talk about right now? Because there are like a few teeny tiny bits of news and notes, but then we do have a review we want to get to.
One thing on Thor 1, Al promised me in his letter to me, because again, we write each other and sometimes he publishes them in the comic.
Sometimes he
Thor, like Immortal Thor 15, maybe you guys have heard of it. It's the one where my comic, my letter was written. Al promised me more costumes. I swear to God, if the costumes are just random people on Earth, I'm gonna need to throw my Mjolnir all the way to the UK.
Oh my goodness!
To deal with Al Ewing, because I want a cool new Thor costume. I don't want him being like CFAS. I just have regular people outfits now.
It's this bus driver in San Antonio, and they have this. They're invoking the spirit of Thor because they're doing heroic deeds, but that's technically a costume change. I don't know.
Bus Thor. Well, guys, I'm excited to speculate more about Thor #1, but we do have a few books coming up before that. We have Immortal Thor 24 and 25. And then we have Thor versus Godzilla coming out the same day as the last issue of Immortal Thor 25. Like that episode is going to be jam-packed. There was on Godzilla.com, the Toho website, there was an interview with Jason Aaron just a few days ago, I guess, at the time of this recording. And Jason goes into kind of depth about, what he's most excited about, how this standalone one shot will connect to his Thor run and also to his more recent Punisher run that everybody loved and no one had a problem with.
That's true. It's one of the most celebrated universally runs in history.
Because in the story of the Godzilla versus Thor comic, the Hand is going to try and basically like use Godzilla, and of course that'll go terribly, I predict. And there's been a few more images released. If you want to look up some really cool artwork, go to Godzilla.com, and there is an article about that. We may even link it in the episode description here. But I'm really excited to see Jason Aaron play around in both the world of Godzilla, Thor, a little bit of the Punisher book that he did. But he has said on this show to us that he's a fan of crossovers. And I love that he's doing this crossover. It just seems like something he has already, because I guarantee you that thing is already written. But he's sunk his teeth into and just had so much fun with. I am personally very excited for this. I know Godzilla is more my thing than my distinguished co-host, but that interview with Jason Aaron made me very, very excited. And I'm ready for some crossover nonsense. Or like, you guys saw the preview images. Faz shared some of the Toho sites, their images. What do you guys think of the artwork, kind of the look, the vibe of this comic going into it? We're about 2 months out from it.
From what I've seen, the previews look amazing. I think it looks like a big drag out brawl. I think, Thor's pulling out all the stops, using all the different power sets that he has. And it is pretty challenging because of the size difference to really do some storytelling and make it make sense. And I thought it really looked fun. It looked dynamic. I don't think there were any word bubbles to sort of give away any of like the plot, but I saw, Godzilla flying through the air in a big vortex, and I'm just thinking, man, like, can you imagine that big of a monster going airborne and then whirling around and stuff? It looks like a lot of fun.
That's what you.
There's so many so cool covers, guys. It's driving me insane. Like, am I going to need to buy 10 copies of this book? Like, there's the main cover that's really cool. There's the Walt Simonson cover. There's the Lee Garbett versus variant. There's the Clayton Crane variant. There's a Virgin Walt Simonson variant. They all look incredible, and I need all of them, and I don't have $100 to spend on Godzilla and Thor variants. Marvel, why are you doing this to me? Jason, why are you doing this to me? I can only do so much. It looks incredible, and I can't wait. I love that it releases on the same day that Thor dies.
Yes.
Why did they do that?
Yes.
It is such a strange choice, but I love it, and I'm very excited.
That is going to be a really fun recording to sit down and just like spend probably.
I think we're going to have to two-part it. I think we're going to need to spend an hour and a half on the end of Immortal Thor, and then another 40 minutes on Godzilla and Thor.
Well, everybody, we're excited for that book. We're excited for the end of the Immortal Thor, because not only is it going to not be as long of a wait in between issues now, we know that, but we're excited to see what Al does with basically the halftime, like the break in the action. So that's kind of all the news we have. I will say, just on the movie front, there's been a lot of Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday set photos, and I know this is more Faz's Faz is like, this is his catnip. But like Tom Hiddleston has posted pictures with Willem Dafoe. There's been like a guys' night to watch Thunderbolts.
Brian, none of that matters. Doomsday was just delayed until Christmas next year. Literally while we were recording. Doomsday has been delayed. Secret Wars has been delayed. Spider-Man Brave New Day might be moved up, folks.
Why?
The release order is changing because Doomsday is probably going to be the biggest movie of all time until Secret Wars, which is going to be the biggest movie of all time. And they have 12 months to get it finished as of right now. It's not enough time. So they're pushing them back 6 months each.
Well, hey,
take your time and do it right,
Exactly. Much better than rushing the VFX and having it not work. They're also rumored to split Secret Wars into 2 movies. So we might get 3 big Avengers movies.
Well, hot damn.
3 years. Ryan, set photos, cool, man, but that's last week's news. We're here for the big bombshell.
I didn't think you were going to tell me that.
No. Of course you didn't, because you didn't get the push notification while we're sitting here deific duoing about Marvel is delaying Doomsday. What?
Eric, I love how the news was so big, I got left out of that. It was like we were deific duoing, and you were just sitting here.
Look, Ryan, it's fine. The deific duo is Eric and I, and you are a special guest when you don't make us angry. Otherwise, we'll bring Will in. I'm
holding it together so much. So, guys, is there any other news items that we need to chat about before we jump into a pretty bombastic issue of Hulk 25. I think we've covered all the Thor stuff.
I think we've covered it. I can just say it's going to be the summer of Thor. I can't wait for all this Thor stuff to get people talking. And I think regardless of whether people are excited or hesitant or nervously awaiting what happens in Thor 1, I think it's good to just have Thor making headlines and on people's minds. I think it's there's no bad press here to make the character more relevant.
Agreed. Well, guys, we do not have an issue of Thor to review this time, but we do have a rematch, a Hulk versus Thor rematch from the pages of Hulk 25. Is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, one of my personal favorite authors right now in comics, and an art team you will definitely recognize from Thor comics. Nick Klein and Matthew Wilson did this issue, and it was gorgeous. It was an incredible.
Gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. It was gorgeous. If you haven't been reading Hulk, just wide kind of 30,000 foot view description of this series. Hulk's been fighting a lot of monsters because a entity called the Eldest is sending monsters after Hulk and Charlie, a kind of orphaned a girl that is going along with Bruce. In a few recent issues, she has discovered this pelt that gives her like powers to be this winged werewolf-like creature. And they went to the Sanctum Sanctorum to get help from Doctor Strange. And when they got there, they found Clea, and Clea was actually a skin changer who had been sent by the Eldest to hunt her down and the Hulk. So we jump into this issue where we left off, and Thor has shown up because he believes Charlie, the girl with the magic pelt, he believes that she is actually a Valraven. And Eric has a lot of information about what Valraven are, so I will gladly hand that part over. But needless to say, Thor and Hulk get into a massive fight. There's a lot of accusations thrown around back and forth. We get a little bit of a history lesson from Thor's personal history with the Valraven. And then we get some cameos towards the end of this issue. Eric, maybe tell people, what are the Valraven and why would Thor think that Charlie is a Valraven in Hulk 25?
Yes. Valraven are some of the coolest new additions to the Marvel comics universe in recent history. So actually the first time I think Valraven was mentioned was in a Guardians of the Galaxy book, but it wasn't referring to these Valraven at all. That was just sort of a cult of worshipers that were vaguely Raven themed. And then now we have in Thor number 19 from Donny Cates' run was the first appearance of these Valraven. And these are four-eyed crow monster cryptid demons that get created when they feed on the flesh of souls of the fallen in the first battles. So the Valraven make more appearances in Thor 31 and 32 of the wrapping up the Cates run. And we have in number 31, go back in Marvel Unlimited and look up Thor 31 from like 2022, something like that. We get a double page spread, Nick Klein art of these gargantuan monster crow demons consuming souls in hell. And it is so metal. And then it's also hilarious that they speak in rhymes. They're speaking like in iambic pentameter, not just rhymes, so but very sing-songy kind of rhymes. So it makes them a little bit less imposing, knowing that they're kind of just hilarious.
I actually think it makes them more imposing, Eric, because they are giant and terrifying and also goofy. That's just, I imagine that's how Godzilla will be written in Godzilla v Thor. He will be in iambic pentameter only.
It's essentially Hela's like pets. Like they reference like, why does she keep them around like this? But they in Thor 19 they are actually guarding the forge in my gosh, if I think about the word too much I can't say it. Nidavellir. Mm-hmm. And Thor goes, look at the Valraven, no blood on their talons, still on their perch, impossible. They have guarded the forge for millennia. So they've been around for a while, but just haven't really made appearances since about Thor 19. So that doesn't have anything to do with what Charlie's turning into. What Charlie's turning into in these Hulk books is not a distorted four-eyed raven monster. She's turning into a wolf with wings, like a flying werewolf. And so in Danish mythology, there is also a version of Valraven that they are created by consuming the flesh of fallen warriors on the battlefield, but they look more like a wolf eagle hybrid. And so that is consistent. So there's at least a connection there. But so far in Marvel Comics, the way that they're depicted, they've always been basically crow monsters, which Charlie does not appear to be at this point.
Thank you very much, Eric. That was a deep dive on Valraven that I feel like people will find to be essential listening, especially if they show back up in Thor. Nick Klein really, I don't know, man. Nick Klein is metal as hell.
Dude, he draws such a nice Thor. They should really give him like a 30 issue series or something where he's the lead artist for it.
You know what? I think there's a lot of potential with that idea.
Yeah.
Honestly, guys, this was a big fight issue. Did you have a favorite part of this issue when it came to the showdown between Thor and Hulk? And, eventually we get the Warriors 3 and Sif showing up. Charlie jumps into the fight as, she uses her magic pelt to transform into the winged werewolf creature. Faz, did you have a favorite part of the fight?
Yeah, so my favorite part, perhaps unsurprisingly, is the kind of lore parts of the issue.
Yeah.
Both the fact that there's a bunch of kind of prose, which is really fun. You listeners know I love when we prose it up with Thor in Edda style, but also just the fucking costumes that the God of Thunder wears in the past are so cool. Like, it's Jason Aaron-esque. It's like a wintry version of the God of Thunder costume. His helmet looks great. His belt looks great. His Mjolnir looks great. He's clearly been polishing his hammer, or maybe someone's been helping him polish it. He's just looking so good. And obviously, you guys can pick the fight between Thor and Hulk, which was objectively amazing. But just seeing Thor in the past be a true Norse god is so freaking cool.
I couldn't agree more. Eric, did you have a favorite standout moment from this issue?
Hell fucking yeah, I did. I even have a favorite panel.
Well, who are you, Faz? That was so much swearing.
Hell fucking yeah. No, this is badass. Yeah. So Thor is creating water spouts in the ocean, and he throws Hulk down into the bottom of the sea, and then has the sea come back over and consume him. And there's that panel in the bottom right where he's being held up by Mjolnir, but his hand is gesturing like to scoop the ocean back over him, and he it's just so cool having the perspective of Hulk way down there by the anchor and Thor hovering above, and he's using his hand to almost look like he's using his hand to manipulate the waves or to manipulate the storm that's making the waves. And I just thought that was such a cool pose, and obviously the whole water spouts and giant hole in the sea. Very, very, very cool imagery.
So Eric, I'm gonna part two that part one, because one of my favorite panels, probably my favorite panel of the issue, was the response that Hulk has to that moment where Hulk throws this abandoned sunken ship at Thor and just blasts him into the sky, and somehow then we end up on the Rainbow Bridge. They
went so high there at the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah. I love the silliness of that.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize how, because there's the big ad in the middle. I didn't even notice that they went directly to Rainbow Bridge. Yeah.
I also love how Nick Klein does Charlie's transformation into the creature. You don't really it is kind of like a werewolf transformation, but then once she's fully transformed, it just looks like a demonic Pegasus soaring through the sky, chasing after Thor. I love Nick Klein art. I feel like, and I've said this probably when we were doing Donny Cates' run of Thor during the reviews, I just always feel like I need to be listening to metal music when I'm reading a Nick Klein drawn book. Mm-hmm. And it fits so much the gritty, grimy nature of this Hulk book. I think this Hulk book is one of my favorite reads. Every month or so I'll pick up a few issues of it and catch up, and I've really enjoyed the writing and the art. But yeah, when Hulk throws that abandoned ship back at him, I'm just like, hell yeah.
Hits them so hard they get to Asgard. That's pretty fun.
And once they get to Asgard, they have this kind of face off, and Hulk's like, okay guys, seriously, we just need to stop, let us go. And Thor kind of gives an inch where he's just like, well, maybe I overreacted a little bit, but that is not before Thor's hammer is on the Rainbow Bridge out of his hand, and he calls Mjolnir to him, and Hulk jumps onto the handle of Mjolnir as it's coming towards Thor's hand, and he knocks out all of the Asgardian warriors. Hulk is gonna go back at Thor and fight him, but then Charlie swings in on her wings and gets Thor out of the way of Hulk, and that's when Thor kind of realizes, like, oh, you're not a Valraven, and she's like, I've been trying to tell you that, man.
But
like,
but also like Hogan being like, is the green one not like your boy? And Thor's like, yeah. kind of fought with him a little bit, and they're like, what? Like, sir, what are you doing right now?
Yeah. At the end of the issue, Thor's last line is, perhaps I was hasty. Perhaps it is not the beast I faced of old. It's like, yeah, Thor, they were trying to tell you that the whole time, man. Like, God.
But then Sif with her magic eyes says she wears the same skin. So would that make her a Valraven, just not the Valraven?
Inquiring true believers will continue reading to find out.
Eric and I know the answer because I'm omniphascient and he's the most prepared, but we're not going to tell you guys. You got to keep reading to find out.
And the next issue is the Winter Soldier. This has kind of been a stretch where Hulk's been interacting with other heroes and other popular characters throughout the Marvel universe. So next we get to see the Winter Soldier interact with Hulk, and that'll be a fun ride. Guys, any final thoughts about Hulk 25? Feel like it was pretty straightforward issue, but it was a fun little appetizer while we wait for Immortal Thor.
Question for the two of you guys: was it better than Banner of War?
Here's the thing. I don't think this. I kind of just wish people would stop promoting big fights between these characters.
Because it always has to be a misunderstanding tie, right? There's no way to.
It's like, yeah, they fought, and I get why they fought. I will say this, Vaz, I understand why they fought way more in this one.
So I think that this is much more satisfying.
Yeah.
But Banner of War might have been better because it was longer and it was Cocolo.
I think honestly, Martine's artwork and Nick Klein's artwork, they're both phenomenal what they do. That's not up for debate. But I think Martine got to be a little bit more, like, because of the writing of that story, got to be more creative with like the giant Iron Man mech suit.
Yeah.
Getting to switch, Hulk being worthy of Mjolnir and Thor getting infused with gamma radiation. Like, he just got to play with more.
The video game fight, sequence, like just things like that I think. But again, that ending was so unsatisfactory in Banner of War. Yeah, whereas like this one is like,
I don't know. It depends on what you want. Like, yeah. That other fight had more shenanigans and had more unique aspects of it. This was a straight up bruising fight with phenomenal artwork, and it did have a more conclusive ending. So I don't know. Like, I think they both succeeded at things.
Herc, what do you think?
I think Banner of War was better. Banner of War was, I mean, it's kind of you can't really compare because that was almost like a mini series. It was such an arc.
It's like 4 issues or whatever.
Time for storytelling. Don't forget, we had like every single one of those issues ended with a crazy splash page cliffhanger, and it was so much fun.
That's true.
Like, what? We have a Hulk Thor now, and oh my gosh, we have a Thor Hulk. Like, it was a wild ride, and
it was a Thulk and a whore. What?
Thulk and a whore.
Spelled HOR out there in the Comics Code Authority.
Yeah, but yeah, the end did kind of, it just sort of ended, but don't forget how fun it was seeing the cliffhanger splash pages.
I think that's a great point, Eric, that this one you knew was only going to be a little brief aside that had to end in a misunderstanding tie. Banner of War, it was just that it was advertised as a final and conclusive ending as to who is stronger. And then they pulled the rug out and they were like, no, we're still tied. Don't worry about it. But that's not the book's fault. That's the marketing's fault. So I need to separate those two things. I'm thinking about
that's true. That's true. So guys, there are some other comics that we weren't able to get to in previous weeks. Maybe we just kind of speed run Some of these I know we've all read. Doctor Strange of Asgard #3. I'm really enjoying this story. I'm really enjoying the slice of life in Asgard through Doctor Strange's eyes. This adventure they take to the territory of the Dark Trolls. There were so many points where I'm just like, oh, okay, they're gonna like learn from each other's differences, and then it's like, but then the queen gets her head chopped off, and you're just like, oh no, we're still like in this wild adventure.
Yeah, but it wasn't their fault though. Shit just happens.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It was one of those swerves where I was like, okay, the Dark Troll Queen will, help Steven with an aspect of this spell he needs to cast. And it's like, nope, she gets killed like halfway through the issue. I loved the adventure, the high adventure part of this. And the humor, Derek Landy's humor is so good.
It's so nicely written.
Yeah, like the way that he makes me chuckle and like wonder, like, okay, where is this mystery going? I'm not annoyed by how long it's taking to answer questions because I'm entertained so much along the way, if that makes sense.
I'm really enjoying the surprise of they can introduce brand new characters that feel so established and so built out, and then just kill them.
Yeah, yep.
You just met this person, and that's kind of part of I don't know if that's part of the humor, but it's part of what makes it interesting, because like in the very first issue, we meet this like, oh, Hulda, she's this sorceress. She must be really important. She's basically the equivalent of a sorcerer supreme in Asgard, and she's dead.
Yeah.
So
it's like when you get attached to the victim in a murder mystery right away, it's like, oh crap.
Well, and it's just like the Stephen Strange quips and the lines.
No, it's fantastic.
Like,
he has so many different people to play off of.
It's a fish out of water story, but the opposite of Thor, right? It's very
right. It's so good. And at the end of Doctor Strange of Asgard, dear listener, it's been out for a few weeks at this point, so I'm still gonna say spoiler. But Thor and Sif show up, and they're basically like, "Hey, Steven, Hulda's dead, and we know it." Like, and he in the little preview for the next issue, they're like, he was trying to cover up a murder in hopes to solve the murder, but Thor and Sif, they got some questions to ask. So Thor is going.
I have to give credit where credit is due. This is the best Magno Thor I've seen. This panel.
Yeah. No, the last panel, the last page or two were very good. I was a big fan. So that story continues in #4. Still, this is really Thor's only tie to the One World Under Doom mega event going on right now. Any other Thor related issues that we need to follow up on? Eric, I know you and I were excited for a few different issues that we thought were going to have more Thor in them than they did. Like Miles Morales Spider-Man #33.
Yeah.
Barely had Thor in it.
We've still got Hercules is still there, so I'm still following the arc to see what happens with this God War, but it was a little annoying that Thor so quickly was just like, oh, something Skyfathers can't get involved because there's some law about Skyfathers, getting involved in this, and I'm going to take off.
And didn't that happen in the other one too?
That happened in Storm #8 as well, where Thor shows up at the end of issue 7. I was very excited because I was like, oh, Storm.
Here we go.
Storm and Thor are going to face off against the new Thunder Gods. Literally within 3 pages of the next issue, Thor is gone. Storm is off on an entirely different story now. So I was like, okay. I was really hyped about that thing you were gonna do, like
Thor. It's like big cliffhanger. Thor is here. Get fired up. First page of the next book. I have to go
against the other Thunder Gods. And Thor kind of did a similar thing, Eric. Like, oh, Skyfathers can get involved in the tournament of the champions or whatever.
Yeah.
In Storm, it was like, maybe bad stuff's gonna happen, but yeah, Aurora, you got this. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Fine. And I get it. Like, I hope this is a way that they're taking Thor off the map.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not just being like, oh, yeah, I hope you enjoyed your cover with Thor on it. Yeah, he's not in this book. I really hope it's for a long-term reason and not just like a, bait and switch thing.
You know what's happening is Thor is becoming so mainstream now that they're using Thor as like the ratings booster and the tease. Spider-Man
you'd
fans
love to see it.
Spider-Man fans probably have this happen all the time. Like, oh, Spider-Man's going to be in an X-Men book, and he's there for one page. You know, I think that's just normal for people who have characters that are super mainstream.
But see then, Eric, like last year, this happened in the Captain America ongoing, where it was like Captain America's run is ending. It's like, yeah, with a Thor story. Like, good grief.
We call those stories, Ryan.
Yeah, Thories. We call those J. Michael Straczynski doing whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, no, that as well. Yeah. Stay tuned for Marvel team ups by JMS, right, or whatever he's calling that series.
Yeah, I don't even know if it has like an official whatever, but we have Immortal Thor 24 coming up. We have Immortal Thor 25 coming up. We have Godzilla versus Thor coming up, guys. Anything else we need to talk about on this news review episode?
Thor didn't feature, so we don't need to talk about it in depth, but Ultimates 12 was another banger, everybody. Thor is in that universe. They also revealed that they're doing a Ultimate Hawkeye one-shot. It'll be a one-off Ultimate Hawkeye #1. That's what the big news was. So pay attention to Ultimates, because if we bring enough of a stink, listeners, they're going to give me some more Ultimate Thor books, because Ultimate 11 was amazing. Ultimates 12 was amazing. You're going to want to follow that if you like Thor.
And Denise Camp is on quite the hot streak right now.
Denise Camp is on a hot streak.
Creator-owned stuff, Marvel, DC, all that. So
this one has a Doctor Doom speech that was mind-blowingly good.
Okay.
So you're going to want to check it out.
Say something?
I was going to say, I mean, apparently in the 616, Asgard and Thor have never existed. Who's that? And so maybe they'll cross over and have Ultimate Thor come in.
Hey.
Oh, that would be fun.
That would be gnarly. Everybody, if you want to continue this conversation with us, check out our Instagram, Discord, and Patreon. If you support us on Patreon, we give you some early episodes, bonus episodes, things like that, just as a thank you. It helps us keep the lights on, pays for Marvel Unlimited, Zoom calls, things like that. We really appreciate any support you can offer. And we're going to hop over the Rainbow Bridge and get out of here. But before we do that, we always like to remind you that no matter what you're doing, whether you are closing the chapter of your Immortal book and you're opening up a brand new #1 over the summer, whether you're about to face a giant kaiju in August or in July, and you just like how am I going to do this? But luckily, Jason Aaron's doing your writing, so it's probably going to be fine. Whatever you have going on, we just want to remind you that we think you're pretty awesome. And you should stay worthy.
Whoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the powers.
What a twist!
Ooh, change it up.
I got you. For the record, I only did that for Faz's face.
I was reading the reviews of Ultimates 12 on Reddit to make sure that everybody loved it as much as I did. They did, and then I heard you change it, and I went, "You motherfucker! You
motherfucker!
Changed things."
Oh man,